Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and centers, and all disciples present here and over the internet. And our VIPs today are the Taipei rep to Sweden and Norway, Ambassador Dongzhou Liao's wife, Dharma Sister Judy, Accountant to Trubula Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa, PR Director of the Trubula School Taiwan Temple, Dharma Brother Fermi Wang, Good evening, everyone. How do you do? Today we practice Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva's Dharma, and there are many Avalokitesvara Bodhisattvas because she has myriads of emanations. The famous ones are the 1,000 eyes, 1,000 arms, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, the wish-fulfilling Avalokitesvara, a child-giving Avalokitesvara, the horse-headed Avalokitesvara, which is also Hayagriva, the wish-fulfilling Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, the 11-faced Avalokitesvara Jundi, dragonfish, purification ball, white robe Avalokitesvaras, and hiking Avalokitesvara. And we know that's only very few. And he or she has even many more numerous emanations and physical emanations. The whole Tibet, and what we study here is Tibetan Buddhism, and the whole Tibet is the spiritual center for four-arm Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva or Chenrezig. So the emanations of Avalokitesvara is extremely numerous, uncountable. So in the Universal Gate Sutra, which is part of the Lotus Sutra, it was mentioned that Avalokitesvara would appear in whatever body to transform or deliver appropriately. So based on whatever bodies they try to deliver, they would appear as that body. My mother chanted the Universal Gate Sutra all the time. At that time, she didn't chant hiking Guan Yin, but instead the Universal Gate Sutra. So in the Universal Gate Sutra, it was mentioned that Avalokitesvara has 32 emanations to fulfill, to appear as sentient beings, to transform them. And she can even appear as a Buddha or Prateka Buddha, which is the solitary realizer, or to become a Sravaka, a Sangha member, to become a Mahabrahma or Indra, Mahaswara, Iswara Deva, or great celestial general, or Vaishravana, or the four heavenly kings, or a minor king, an elderly, a layperson, a prime minister, a Brahman, a monk, a nun, a layman, laywoman, a female, a young boy, a young girl, a deva, a dragon, a yaksa, Gandharva, Asura, Garuda, Kinara, Maharoga, a human, non-human, or the Vajra deity, etc. Many of them. So, as whatever bodies you are to be delivered, Avalokitesvara would appear as that body. So Avalokitesvara's salvation is really uncountable. And we know that in her past, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva was a Buddha. There was the 11th phase Avalokitesvara, as I had said before. One face represents one Bodhisattva ground. So 11 faces represent 11 Bodhisattva grounds. However, Bodhisattvahood, Bodhisattva grounds are only 10 grounds. So that meant that 11 phases reaches the Buddhahood, because the 11th ground is the Buddhahood. And Vairocana Buddha is on the 13th ground. And Avalokitesvara has reached 11th ground. So any ground higher than 10 is considered Buddha ground. So the past correct Dharma Tathagata, right Dharma radiance Tathagata. But Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is willing to become a Bodhisattva in samsara to deliver sentient beings. So her origin and position were extremely great. I have talked about the great, victorious, blissful heaven was also emanated by Avalokitesvara. And the Shambhala kingdom, the first king was emanation of Manjushri Bodhisattva. And the second king, which was the White Lotus King, his true identity was also an emanation of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva. So, in Tantrayana, there are many crisscross emanations. And Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is an attendant to Amitabha Buddha, or the same as the disciple of Amitabha Buddha. And Amitabha Buddha's emanations or transformations are also extremely numerous. For example, like Padma Kumaras were also emanated from Amitabha Buddha. And so the original ground was also Amitabha Buddha, the same. So the appearance or the emanations of bodhisattvas, there's no need to be strange about how come this one is also Avalokitesvara, that one also Avalokitesvara, because they have uncountable, infinite emanations. And I taught people to chant Namo 36,119,500 Buddhas with the same name and identification of Amitabha. That's quite incredible already, this number. 36 trillions. That alone is already beyond imagination. So even a Padma Kumara or Guru Padmasambhava are also emanations of Amitabha Buddha. So of the 8 great primary deities, Tsunti Bodhisattva will also belong to the family of Avalokitesvara. And Padma Kumara also belong to the family or the clan of Avalokitesvara and therefore Amitabha. And Hayagriva, so of the Herukas, so there are many more. And the 6-arm Mahakala or 8-arm Mahakala? 6-arm Mahakala was also emanated by Avalokitesvara. Too many, uncountable. And her compassion is boundless. The 4 immeasurables or the 4 boundless mind qualities. The first one is about boundless loving kindness, boundless compassion, boundless joy, and boundless equanimity. They all related to Avalokitesvara. They all related to Avalokitesvara. Loving kindness typically is explained as giving pleasure or giving happiness to people. Compassion is alleviating sufferings. So boundless compassion is to uproot the sufferings of sentient beings. Boundless joy is performing work of compassion with joy, and the boundless equanimity is equality. So you have no discrimination whether this belongs to me or you or them. So you deliver everyone equally. You deliver everyone, all equally. So when you reach the boundless equanimity, you are also loving kindness, compassionate toward your enemies with joy and with equanimity. So you have boundless equanimity towards your enemies as well. There's no differences between me, you, and them. So look at the spirit of Ishichogar. That's how she was. There seem to be two rather special physical emanations where she performed bodhisattva work. Have you heard that about the leper? Have you read the story? Please raise your hand. So a leper with pus and wounds, pus running out from wounds all over the body, his body. And he had no wife, so he wanted Ishichogar to marry him. And Ishichogar was compassionate toward him and lived together and married to him. Have you heard this story before? No. No? Nobody? So please stand up and tell the story. Just say the key point. Microphone. 男孩子呢，他有太太，之后呢，他太太因为嫌弃他有麻风病， The leper man had a wife, and the wife abandoned him because he had the lepra. And Ishichogar is doing this. So Ishichogar, you can forsake anything. Now I don't have a wife, so can you please become my wife? So think about it. Ishichogar was a beautiful lady. And the leper man was very dirty. In order to satisfy the leper man, she forsook her own body to marry him. That's a really suffering thing. You know, a leper in Taiwanese, we call it tiger pay. A really dirty man. Yuck. And she lived together with this leper man for a long time, a long period of time. And she did her best to help her husband's sickness. So this kind of spirit of equal equanimity, it's very difficult to understand, to explain. And there's another story about an amputated man. Do you know this story? No. And there's an amputated man, No, no, the knees down, both knees down are gone, were gone. And he told Ishichuka, he wished for Ishichuka's knees to be placed at his legs so that he can walk. And you are the compassionate Ishichuka. Can you please give your knees to me? Both knees. And Ishichuka agreed and gave her knees to him, and she became amputated, and the man was able to walk afterwards. So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva has such a spirit. So the great victorious blissful heaven, I've told this story before. It was originally, this Deva was like Ganesh with the elephant trunk. He was a demon, and his joy is to kill people. So Avalokitesvara became a female Ganesh. So Ganesh was going after this female Ganesh, and yet he never got her. And only when he was about to be disheartened, she appeared again. So the female Devi told the male Deva that there's only one condition. If you want me as your wife, you have to support Buddha Dharma, that in the future you will not kill and harm sentient beings anymore. So the male Deva, Swaradeva, agreed. So Avalokitesvara transformed him. So Avalokitesvara was the same. He was compassionate like this. The same with Ishichuka. They do all these compassionate acts. Therefore, I've said this too. I can also forsake myself. I can forsake my life and my death. Like this time, this coronavirus, the COVID-19, the novel coronavirus, now I'm wearing them. This golden ball looks like the coronavirus. It's really similar. It looks really like the coronavirus. So Grandmaster can also forsake himself. If someone with COVID-19, Grandmaster will give him or her blessings all the same. Even if I'm infected, it's okay. I just want to give you blessings so that you would be well. And it's okay if I die. That's the spirit I have. So, but I cannot say this. If someone is infected with COVID-19 and wants a blessing from Grandmaster, I'm willing to give it. And I can do it. There's just a slight fear that I don't infect other people and that person does not infect the community or the group. So that's very difficult to complete, to do. Because I cannot say that at the Seattle Lizang Temple, or that if you're infected with COVID-19, then you can come for spiritual cultivation. However, it would be dangerous to the Reverend Lian Qi, because she's the Reverend who helps with the spiritual consultation. And then if he or she walks into our temple, then it would drive people away. There's this joke that during breakfast, there was so full, no seats available. So I asked very loudly to my brother, "How was your trip to Wuhan?" And then all of a sudden, everybody ran away and there are many empty seats. So, if I openly welcome people with COVID-19 for blessings by Grandmaster, there would be some difficulties in order to come to this temple and then to my spiritual consultation room, and they have to come into contact to other people, and then you would infect other people. Otherwise, if it's just infecting me, it'll be fine. I don't care. But Grandmaster is very precious to us. Oh, that's about time. And that's how human life is. You just sacrifice yourself for sentient beings is fine too. As you know, many countries in the world have some infections. So if I can use my body to exchange for the eradication of the virus, then I would be willing to do that, to exchange my body for the elimination of the virus from the world. Death is not a threat for me. Because every day I'm together with Amitabha, Avalokitesvara, and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattvas. And since I'm already in union with Amitabha, Avalokitesvara, and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattvas, and if I'm able to forsake my body for the sake of the elimination of the coronavirus, that would be extremely fine. That's the spirit of Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva too, and also of Ishichoka. The spirit of Ishichoka. Because in this world, there's nothing to be attached to. If I can replace if I can take in place the elimination of the virus by forsaking myself, it's okay. However, I don't want other people to get infected. So Avalokitesvara's loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity are all very boundless. Are boundless, truly boundless.
这里呢，列师之分义，也就是大略的解释
In brief,
方面的意义。
here's the meaning of the verse. The wisdom in the verse means bodhicharo. The outer demon in the verse refers to the soul Bhitu who creates demonic obstructions since beginningless time. Bhitu.
是突吉尼吗？还是那个鬼子母？鬼类当中的一种。
It's one of the demons or ghosts.
啊，避难业家。
避难业家。
避难业家是解释成为什么？魔形啊，魔形是台湾话，就是魔的鬼类的一种。
So it's a kind of ghost.
颂中的二道。
And two paths and the 8 transformations of seeing the goal in the verse refers to the two paths of the development path and perfection path, and the skillful means and the wisdom path. Why do we have the development path and the perfection path? The wisdom path. We need two paths. Two paths. Because without development stage, there would not be the perfection stage. And what is the development stage? It's about the womb mandala or dharma dhatu. And the vajra dhatu is the perfection path. Without the Dharma Dhatu, there will not be Vajra Dhatu. Without spiritual cultivation, there is no Buddhahood. So, it's all the same meaning. So, in the Dharma Dhatu mandala, there are no mundane beings. Without mundane beings, there are no Buddhahoods. So, development stage is the spiritual cultivation from the beginning, but the perfection stage is toward the end of the path close to Buddhahood. And the skillful means, Like today, the chanting mantra, visualization, forming the mudras, entering into samadhis, they are all the skillful path. The skillful means path. Once you have attainment, when you reach the ultimate path, that's called the wisdom path. Once you truly have attainments, then you can let go of the path of skillful means. Once you have the attainment of Amitabha Buddha, do you still need visualization, chanting mantra, forming mudra, entering samadhi? No, no need. So, in the process of spiritual cultivation, you need them. Once you have attainments, you have no need for them anymore. But your attainments come from the path of skillful means. So your attainments come from the development stages. So now you understand. The 8 changes of seeing the goal are the 4 hindrances, 3 of which generate the spiritual experiences and sufferings, etc., to be gradually recognized. This is the instruction on the awakening realization to the outer demon. So, we have talked about the awakening's realization. And here, this is about the protection against inner demon. Next. Protection against inner demon. This is the instruction on the protection against inner demon. If one knows it is demonic obstruction, and yet none of the practices can deter it, it is called the inner demon obstructions, which was stated in the verse as inner demon. Again, like the 4 hindrances stated earlier, the protection method is by the marks of the 4 empowerments. The inner demon stated in the verse referring to the head of the cemetery, the protector gods of the area, our own protectors and other divinities we rely on, should be offered the appropriate food and offering items to please them so that they benefit us, or not wanting to harm, break off, or absorb us. Therefore, it is referred as inner demon or hindrances. So what is this inner demon? And here it talk about the head of the cemetery. The head of the ghosts of the cemetery. Like in the past, Vajrakilaya was the head of the cemetery. Dorje Purba. However, Guru Padmasambhava subdued the head of the cemetery, subdued Vajrakilaya. So he became the protector or supporter of the Buddha. So head of the cemetery or the protection gods of the area. So the area gods can also obstruct you. For example, for Ichichoga, when she had attainment in her spiritual cultivation in her cave, she radiated bright, brilliant lights, rays of lights, and so all the mountain gods could not bear it. So they had to leave their seats. So all the mountain gods found her rays of lights bothersome. So they created obstructions to Ishichoka, and they are considered to be the inner demon. So this aerial protection gods like city gods and earth god, area earth god. So in order to eliminate this demonic obstruction, you have to make offerings to them. Food and offering items that are appropriate for them, to please them, so that they benefit us, or in the least not wanting to harm us or break us off. Like the city god is the protector god of an area, the mountain god too, or earth god too. When your radiance is too bright, then they would come to stop you, to obstruct your spiritual cultivation. At this time, what should you do? Make offerings. Very simple. Like Ganesh, that I just talked about, Ishwaradeva. He obstructed all people. So you offer Avalokiteswara to him. Avalokiteswara became a female Devi, female Iswara Devi, to him, and he's fine. Then he became protector to Buddha Dharma. The same concept. So toward all the gods are the same as the virus. Why are they similar? You know, there are good germs inside our body. Like the good bacteria that battle or counter the bad bacteria. So all the good the bacteria inside our body are good. They don't obstruct us. But the bad bacteria from outside, when they come into our body, then we generate antibody, and the antibody are also bacteria, and they fight against the bad bacteria and to kill them, and then you will become healthy. If your immune system wins over the invader germs, then you are healthy, then you recover. If you lose, then you're dead, or they would attack your organs. Grandmaster has said that we are scared of the COVID-19 because they also attack their generative ability, the male reproductive systems. So if man has no power, has no reproductive power, then human life could be meaningless, might as well dead. So we often talk about germs. So there are many obstructions that are intangible too. So if you make appropriate offerings to the gods and ghosts, I offer things that you like, whatever you like, I offer to you. then you would you would get lots of power. They were at first wanted to obstruct you, then they become your followers. They were demons, then they become gods. They were ghosts. And they can also help spiritual cultivators. So if your offering is effective, then this would happen. That's what's mentioned here. So to let all this inner demon to please them, because if they are displeased, then they would harm and obstruct your spiritual cultivation. But if they are pleased, then you have get them. You have gotten them. The same with our germs inside our body. There are bacteria inside our organs. So in your secretion, they're all bacteria. They're all good bacteria. So in the future, we can invent, if you have bad stomach or digestive system, then you eat the poop of a healthy person, and because inside that poop there are lots of good bacteria, and by eating it, then you can change your own flora or bacteria inside your body. That's the concept why we want to eat poop, eat shit. Because inside the poop contain a lot of good bacteria. So it's golden color, not so hard, but it's formed. So that has a lot of good bacteria. So if you have bad digestive systems, ulcers, stomach reflux, acid, and you have bad bacteria inside your digestive systems, then by eating the poop of a healthy person, it's the same as taking in the good bacteria from that person, and then you let the good bacteria to eliminate the bacteria, the bad bacteria inside your body. Once your digestive systems become well, then you become healthy. So the medical science is researching into this. That's why the Japanese invented the drinking of urine of pee. So eat poop and drink pee. So to take in the good bacteria, to eliminate the bad bacteria, then you would become healthy. So the God was good, the God has power, and ghost has small power. So those with small power are the ghosts, and those with big power are the gods. So gods and ghosts are the same. But if you serve them well, you make offering to them, then they become supportive instead. So if you cannot control them, they would eradicate you, would kill you, would harm you. That's why Kongzi said, that you respect them, but you keep a distance from them. So what he meant is it's good that we worship the Buddhas, but you don't want to believe in the gods and ghosts, but you can still make offering to them just to please them and so that they can help us. But in terms of our faith and belief, we should believe in the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. That's what it means. The verse stated, the one on the 10 paths refers to the 8 realization grounds and 2 stages of both development and perfection. In the verse, if not recognizing the marks, then it is the worst. The inner demon creates 4 kinds of hindrances, creating all sorts of sensations and spiritual experiences and sufferings, so that one cannot enter into meditation. Showing all types of sights and sounds about gain and loss, and by twisting our realization ground, hindrances are created. By recognizing, we can be protected. And these marks are divided into 12 marks. 4 basic marks, 4 deficient marks, 4 speech marks. So when the inner demons appears, then they would delude you with all the senses, the sights, the hearing, the smell, touch, and the thought. Because gods and ghosts can also transform themselves to become the 5 senses to entice and delude you. So you have to recognize them clearly. Sometimes they create all sorts of sensations and sufferings in your spiritual experiences for you to feel suffering so that you cannot enter into meditation, so to obstruct your practice and spiritual cultivation. So gods and ghosts can obstruct you too. So you need to make offerings and you need to understand the signs and the marks. And once you understand the concept, you will not be deluded by the gods and the ghosts. Typically in Buddhism, toward the ghosts, they always create obstructions and hindrances. And we should also make offerings to the gods to please them, so that the power is positive, not obstructive power, but would be help favorable. But we should not take refuge in the gods or in the ghosts. We take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. We take refuge in the Guru, in the root Guru. We take refuge in the lineage root Guru, in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. That's the rule of Buddhism. Take refuge in Sakyamuni Buddha. Take refuge in the Dharma as spoken by Sakyamuni Buddha. Take refuge the Sangha who maintain the Buddha Dharma of Sakyamuni Buddha. And then take refuge in the Vajra Master, which means they are taking refuge in the enlightened Vajra Master who can provide deliverance, liberation from afflictions, from ego, from self-attachments, from physical body, so that you can go to Pure Land and have spiritual attainments. So these 4 refuges are the most important. In Buddhism, we don't talk about refuge in ghosts or refuge in gods.
在高考的前夕，老爸打电话给儿子，老爸说：“儿子啊，
before
轻松，别紧张，好好考。
the
我
test
已经帮你
to the high school,
这个
a
后台
dad
是
calls the
很硬
son, don't worry, I've got you a back
还
supporter,
是你
a
要
very
走一
strong
遍
one,
高考的程
so
序，
don't worry about it.
就
However, you
只是
still have to
好，
go through the
那
process
我会
and
很
take the
安心，
test,
好好
okay?
的考。
And the
因
son
为
said,
你找的
okay,
关系
don't
是
worry,
谁？
I will take the
这个
test.
爸爸
And
讲
who is the
说是
supporter?
观世音菩萨。
Oh, that's Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, the dad answered.
是观世音菩萨，观世音菩萨也是我们的靠山啊。
So Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva is also our supporter, back
靠的
support.
是佛菩萨，
We rely on
金刚
Buddhas,
护法，
Bodhisattvas,
通行
Herukas,
诸天，
Dhammapalas,
都是我们的靠山。
protectors, Dakinis, and all heavenly beings.
祥美问
They're all
爷爷
our back supporters.
打针的
Xiaomei
时候
asked Grandpa,
为什么要拿棉球插在屁股上？
before we
爷爷
get
讲
an
那
injection,
是
why
酒精，
do we want to
先
use
把
the
酒精
cotton
插
ball
醉了，
on
再
our
打针就
butt?
不会痛。
Oh, because that's alcohol.
他
So
讲得很
when
对
we
啊，
rub it, then you
把
will
它
not,
插醉了，它就不会痛。
so that the butt would
小美
get drunken and
可
you
是
will
我
not
还
feel
是
any
痛
pain.
啊。
And
爷爷
Xiaomei
讲
replied, but I
那
still
是
feel
因
the
为你
pain.
屁股的酒量很好。
But that's because your butt can drink a lot and don't get drunk.
这个当然不是啦，
Of course,
当
that's
然
not
不
the
是
case,
说屁股有什么酒量。
that the butts
不过
have
这个只是一
capacity
个
to drink
比喻
for
而已
alcohol.
啊，一个比喻。
It's just an analogy.
啊，这里有一个这个警示的，接近什么样的人，就会走怎么样子的路。牌友是会
So
催你打牌，
that you will
酒友
become
是
whomever
会催你干
you
杯，
are together.
益友却会
So
感染你。如何
your card
取得
buddies
幸
would just get you to play cards,
人
and then
最大的幸福
your drinking buddies would just
不
get
是
you
捡到钱，
drinking,
也不是中奖，而是有人
and
可以鼓励
but
你，指
the
引
most
你。
lucky person is not to get the downfalls or win lotteries, but someone that can encourage you and help you.
我们以前有一句成语就叫
There was an idiom,
近朱者赤，近墨者黑。
you become red
就是
when
这
you're
个
close to cinnabar, and you become black when you're close to the
所以
ink.
朋友啊，你找到的
So
朋友
your
是怎么样？
friends
像我们今天在协会，
are important.
你找到的
So
真的是
if you're
他有
Buddhist
佛显知识
practitioners,
大善知识，
and if you find
那你
someone
就
with
可以
true Buddhist
解
knowledge,
脱
so
往
that's
生
a
到佛国
very
净土，
knowledgeable Dharma
或者
companion,
你自己
then you
修
can
行
become
成为佛
liberated
菩萨，
or be reborn in the Pure Land, or you can cultivate
这是
spiritually
最
and
大的
become
最大的收获，人生
Buddhas
最
and
大的收获。
Bodhisattvas. That would
就是
be the greatest gain in
有
our
时候我
human
们
life.
好像是说你碰到什么样子，你就被引到
So
邪
whatever
道
kind of people you encounter,
真正的道
you would be
就是你能够找到
led
帮助你成佛的
into to become those kinds of people. But you can find people that would help you to attain Buddhahood.
我带着狗一起离家出走，
I took the
结果
dog
家人
and
只张贴
ran
行
away
狗
from
启
home,
事
and the notice that my family posted was only looking for the dog.
有时候人跟狗啊比起来，狗反而比较重
So
要。
sometimes the dog is more important than the human being.
它
So why the human beings are number one? Because human beings have a spiritual aspect and they can cultivate spiritually. And it's very difficult for those in the animal realm to cultivate spiritually. Once you fall into the 3 lower realms, like the hungry ghost realm, and they're so hungry all the time, how can they cultivate? And then the animal realms, they're very stupid. How can they cultivate? And in hells, they suffer so much. How could they cultivate? Therefore, it's best for the human beings not to fall into the 3 lower realms, the hungry ghost, animal, and the hell. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.
非常感谢根本传承上师宝贵的法语开示，请唱诵组准备。雷藏师有以下法务活动向大家报告：明天3月1号星期日下午3点，法王圣尊莲生活佛将在彩虹雷藏寺主持莲花童子护摩法会，
And tomorrow, Sunday, March 1st, 2020, at 3 p.m. at the Rainbow Temple in North Bend, Washington, His Holiness will preside over the Padma Kumara Homa fire offering ceremony and confer the corresponding empowerments. And prior to Homa starting at 1:30 at the Homa Hall, there would be the book reading of His Holiness, led by Vajramaster Si Lian Ci, on book number 275, The Fifth Teaching for the Path of Liberation. For details, please check dbboye.org. And His Holiness are truly compassionate toward all sentient beings. So since the outbreak of the COVID-19, His Holiness has been leading everybody to chant the mantra of Tara, who dispels epidemics. And starting from January 21st, February 1st, the empowerments had been granted. And you can also request for remote empowerment to chant this mantra. And we also entice all fellow disciples all over the world to together chant this mantra and dedicate the merit to stop the COVID-19 outbreak. And together, when we unite, we would generate more power. And we also dedicate the merit so that we can alleviate the suffering for those who are infected by it. Now we'll be incanting Buddha Amitabha.
请新皈依者到坛城前长跪，恭请法王圣尊莲生活佛为新皈依者做皈依灌顶。
We are inviting any of you who would like to take refuge in His Holiness to please come forward to the center of the temple and personally receive refuge initiation. If you're not present in person and would like to take refuge, you may send a letter to Buddha Foundation, Redmond, Washington.
恭请法王圣尊莲生活佛加持大悲咒水及为佛像开光。
Inviting His Holiness to consecrate Buddha images and to bless the Great Compassion holy water.
请大家起立做大礼拜，礼拜根本传承上师及诸佛。嗡啊吽。二拜诸菩萨。嗡啊吽。三拜诸护法金刚。嗡啊吽。四平等一起手。同修会圆满吉祥结束了，感谢根本传承上师法王圣尊莲生活佛的大加持，感谢师母仁波切诸位上师、教授师、法师、讲师、助教、贵宾、同门善信大德的护持，谢谢大家，阿弥陀佛。We now conclude this live broadcast. Thank you for viewing. 师尊会给大家摸顶加持，请大家尽量在大殿排队。